flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, and the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Alhaji Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, to speak to the House. Thank you. Now, President.
Thank you very much. Now, President, now Vice President, Namine, Namine, a distinguished delegation that I've come to the House with. I'm most privileged and most honored to have the opportunity to be here this morning, and I want to add my voice to thank you for making the time to meet with me this morning and my delegation. I arrived in the Upper West region yesterday as part of my campaign tour. Of course, whenever I come to the Upper West region, I'm coming home. And so it's always a pleasure to be here. And when I say I'm coming home, there are two parts of that homecoming. First of all, I'm coming home because I'm coming to the north. I'm coming to see my fathers, my mothers, my brothers, and my sisters here back home. I'm also coming home because politically, for our party, this is really home. This is the heart of the Northern People's Party that was formed by SD Dombo, by Abai Fakabo, Momoni Dimbie, Jato Kalio, BK Adama, and that group of stalwarts of the Northern People's Party in those days. The heart of it, interestingly, was from the Upper West region. And so when I come back home and I come to the Upper West region, it is really almost spiritual for me to be back here, knowing the selflessness and sacrifices of all the people who work so hard in putting the Northern People's Party together. And that Northern People's Party has eventually metamorphosed into the New Patriotic Party. But however, notwithstanding the fact that the genesis of our party has been the Northern People's Party, our leaders, being as selfless as they were, when it came to time for taking the leadership of our party, SD Dombo sacrificed and gave it to Professor Busia. And that has been how everything has been going since that time, when he gave up the leadership which he was entitled to. And since then, no Northerner has led the party and until now. And so it even became an issue in the country. People kept saying our party was an Akam party, and therefore no Northerner will be allowed to lead the party. However, I made a bid for the leadership of the party last year. And when I made that bid, there was a lot of skepticism. People were saying, how do I think that the MPP will allow me to lead the party? But I kept saying that our party was really a very diverse party. And I believe by the grace of God that it was possible for me to be elected as leader of the New Patriotic Party. And so it was with a lot of honor that I felt when I was elected to lead the party in November last year. I believe that the history, and it is history that has been made for our party to elect the first leader from the North. And I also think it makes a lot of sense. And I am standing essentially in the shoes of which I am not able to fill anyway, but I'm standing in the shoes of all the pioneers who sacrificed everything to build this party. And one of their sons is now leading this party. And so I am thanking all of you, because I came around when I was seeking the leadership and asked for your support and your prayers. And you did give me your blessings. And so, notwithstanding all the challenges, I was successful. And now I am campaigning, starting my campaign across the different regions of Ghana. I'm moving across quickly. The Upper West region is the 11th region that I have visited. And so after this, I'll have 5 more regions to go in this first round of campaigning. And then I will come back again to do specific constituency by constituency campaigning. I am most grateful for the opportunity. And I'm coming to the Upper West region, and you as the owners of the region, because you own the land of Upper West. And I am coming as your son to seek your blessings and to seek your prayers and to ask for your support. So for me, as I embark on this journey to win the presidency of this country, I believe that as vice president, within the very limited confines of the authority of a vice president, I believe that I have been able to do a lot within my limited authority to impact the development of Ghana in so many ways. When I came in, I focused on supporting the president to solve a few critical problems that this country faced. I knew that the world as a whole was moving towards a digital age, and our country could not be left behind, that we needed to be participants in the digital age, otherwise we'll be left behind. And the digital age is really an age where we try to make sure that the digital technology comes to bear on our problem-solving ability, that we use technology to solve our problems. And so when I started as vice president, I was focusing on some of these areas. So for example, in the digital transformation of all countries in the world, everybody focuses initially on making sure the citizens all have identity. Because if you don't have identity, you cannot participate in the digital economy. So the foundation of our participating in this global digital economy is to make sure that all our citizens are identified. And that is why I focused on the issuance of the Ghana card. And today, you have about 17.6 million Ghanaians who have been issued with the Ghana card. And we are now going to go into the schools to do the school children. But what is also good is that now we have put in place a system where if a child is born in anywhere in the Upper West region today, and you take that child for weigh-in the hospital, that child will also be given a Ghana card ID and a birth certificate ID at the same time. So the Ghana card is giving us this unique ID, and with it we are able to solve a lot of problems because everybody is uniquely identified. One area that we have used the Ghana card to solve problems is in the area of ghost workers on government payroll, because every worker must have a Ghana card number because your fingerprints will identify you. And so we require that every government worker on payroll must be related to the Ghana card. Once we did that, we were able to get a lot of ghosts out of the system, because whilst individuals have fingerprints, ghosts don't have fingerprints. So once we ask for their fingerprints, they all run away. And we found 44,000 ghost workers on the national service payroll, and found 19,000 ghost pensioners on the SNIT payroll. Together, the national service was payroll, 44,000 out, was saving us about 400 million cedis a year. The SNIT payroll was saving us almost 300 million cedis a year. Between the two is over 700 million a year. Just two institutions that you are saving this amount of money simply because you are insisting that workers use the Ghana card to identify themselves. So this problem of ghost workers that has existed with us since independence is now solved. Is now solved, and that is a big gain for all of us. Another problem that I focused on was to make sure that our people have access to financial services. Before, it was really a preserve of the elite who had bank accounts and so on. But many of our people had mobile money accounts. The only problem was that the mobile money was, you could only transfer money within the same network. If you were a Vodafone customer, you can transfer to someone who is also Vodafone. If you were a MTN customer, you can transfer to someone who also is MTN. But I think that what we then decided to do was to implement something we call mobile money interoperability that brought us the ability to transfer between different telecom companies, as well as between the Momo account and the bank account. And we have done it. And Ghana is the only country in Africa that you can transfer money from a Momo account to a bank account, and from a bank account to a Momo account. And that really has helped in us becoming a very financially inclusive society, and we are making a lot of progress. I also focused on the fact that we didn't have addresses. In our country, since independence, the address system was very limited, and you needed a new address system in Ghana. Otherwise, if you are going to visit somebody, then it has got to go to the Wachi Sela and turn to the right, and the Blue House and turn to the left. That was the nature of address, directing people. But we brought in a digital address system, and that means there's no village or town that you can go to and you will not find an address. And that is something that we have also done. Another thing that I have focused on is to make sure that our hospitals, the patients' records are all digitalized, so that your records will no longer be on a folder, because sometimes you go and they will say they can't find your folder in the hospital, and that is a problem. But now we are trying to digitalize every hospital, every clinic, every CHIPS compound, all the data. We have finished with the teaching hospitals, we have finished with the regional hospitals, we have finished with the district hospitals. By the end of next year, we'll finish with every hospital in Ghana, including the CHIPS compounds, which means that if they transfer you from Laura or from Jirapa to come to Wa, when you come to WA, you no longer need your folder to bring it along. You just give them your ID and they'll tap it, and your data all your record will be on the computer. The doctor will therefore be able to treat you. If they transfer you from Jirapa or Funsi to go to Kolebu, you don't need any folder. You just take your ID. Once they put it in Kolebu system, all your health records will be there, and the doctor will do that. We expect to finish every hospital by next year, but we have finished teaching hospitals, regional hospitals, and also district hospitals. And so that will help the doctors give us a lot of good treatment across. Today too, because of digitalization, you can buy your electricity on credit, you can enroll on national health insurance and renew your national health insurance also remotely on your mobile phone. Another initiative which I championed was the one constituency, one ambulance, and we've done it. And after the COVID problems, we realized that there was a major deficit of hospitals in many districts. So I made a proposal to the president, and he agreed, and we decided that we should bring in this project called Agenda 111 to make sure that every district in Ghana which does not have a district hospital will have one, and every region without a regional hospital will have one. And right now we are proceeding with the construction of the Agenda 111 hospitals. I know there are about 4 in the Upper West region that are ongoing right now. In the whole of the 5 northern regions, we have 27 of these Agenda 111 hospitals that we are building, and it will help us all move forward to do that. I have also, amongst some of the policies that I have pushed for, which we are now enjoying, is the free senior high school education policy. And that is a policy that, for us who come from the north, it has been really God-sent to us. Why do I say so? You look at the senior high school enrollment. Since we came into office, the increase has been huge. When we came into office, the total enrollment in senior high school was 800,000. That is between independence and 2016, we only had 800,000 students in senior high school. But in the last 7 years, between 2017 and 2023, we have increased the number of students in senior high school from 800,000 to 1.4 million. So 60 years of independence, we had 800,000 students. In 7 years of free SHS, we've added 600,000 students. So it means that there was a real need for a lot of students whose parents could not afford, and the opportunities are now going. But what for me is very, very interesting about the data is that the top 5 regions in the enrollment into senior high school are the 5 northern regions. The top 5 of the 16, the highest enrollment is coming from the 5 northern regions. And that tells me that there is really a need for our students, because many of the parents could not afford the senior high school, and now they are taking the kids there. But what is also more important is that now, before there were more boys than girls in the senior high school. More boys than girls, but now there are more girls than boys. More girls than boys. Today, when we came in, for every 100 boys, there were 68 girls in senior high school. For every 100 boys, there were 68 girls. Today, for every 100 boys, there are 106 girls. So the girls have overtaken the boys in the senior high school, and it is a good thing. Recently, we have tried to improve their studies. We are giving them tablets, which are basically computers, for them to have all their learning materials on it, and do that. So the senior high school and also their performance in the WACSI exam has gone up dramatically. From the best 6 subjects of 45% pass rates, today we are at 64% pass rates. This is a major increase. And so we are very, very happy. It's not that we've solved all the problems of senior high school. There are still some problems we have to solve, but the students are really getting a big benefit from the senior high school education. And then when we have also added technical and vocational education, which we have invested a lot in. And so over the last 7 years, we've invested 6 billion Ghana cedis in technical and vocational education. We have upgraded all the 34 MVTIs, the 10 technical universities, as well as the 13 colleges of technical colleges, and really brought state-of-the-art equipment across. In addition to this investment, we have made technical and vocational education free in Ghana. And that is really that has increased the enrollment from 60,000 to 159,000. So the students are benefiting because now we need skills for them to come out into the world of work. So Your Majesties, these are some of the things that we have been doing to as far as my contribution in terms of governance. As I said, I have proposed the one constituency, one ambulance. We have done it, the Zongo Development Fund, the Goal for Oil policy. I can point to at least 33 different policy initiatives that I, as Vice President, have been able to support the President and champion their implementation. And so what I am saying, my fathers and mothers, Your Majesties, is that if as Vice President I have been able to support in doing all this work with the limited constitutional authority that I have, I will make the case that if you make me president with all the constitutional authority, I will do much more for our country and for our regions. That is what I want to plead of you. I have a lot of ideas that I want to bring to change what we are doing. A lot of ideas. I know that the projects that we've executed and completed in the Upper West region, there are about 531 projects that we've done so far in the Upper West region. But I take a lot of point in the area of roads, that we really need to do a lot more in the area of roads. And that is going to be done. Before the end of this year, fingers crossed, the Sunyani all the way to Wa, the road, I think we are going to see some major improvement in this major road. I've been talking to the Minister for Roads about this major road that is coming all the way from Sunyani to Wa. And I want to see a dramatic improvement. Not only just quota, I want to see asphalt all the way. Asphalt all the way. So this is something that I'm expecting to be done, not after the election, but before. Before the election. I don't want to say, vote for me and then I'll make it happen. No, I want to say, I want it to be done so that you will see that it is done before we even get to the election. So we are going to do it. There are major roads, to Mochichulga is another major road that is my father, the Tumukro, keeps, reminding me of every time we meet, and it is something that is also something that we need to work on. So there are quite a few roads, even though we've done some roads, but there are some critical roads that we need to get done in the region. And I also believe that if God gives me the opportunity the Kamba Dam irrigation project is something that we really need to get done in here. My major focus, if I can talk a little bit about my vision, my major priority in terms of development in this country is to focus on agriculture. Is to focus on agriculture because we have a comparative advantage in agriculture. So far, we have focused largely on small-scale agriculture, but I believe that we need to change and focus on large-scale mechanized agriculture supported by irrigation. That is what will change and transform our country. So I am going to really put in the resources in agriculture so that we can farm the produce and process the produce here. Process the produce, whether it's in our share trees or our rice or our maize or any soybeans, we can farm and process the produce here. So I want us to focus on agriculture. The other thing I want us to do is to orient or change the way we generate electricity. And we have already started something in the Upper West region. But I want Ghana to move away from using fuel to generate electricity, which we import, to using solar power, which God has given to us for free. Solar power in our generation mix can reduce the cost of electricity by at least 50%. So I want, over the next 4 years, God willing, when I'm president, to bring about an injection of 2,000 megawatts of solar power in our generation mix. And for us to generate that type of solar power, you need the land for the panels. And most of that land will have to probably come from the north, because this is where we have the sun and we have the land. So that, and not only should we generate the solar panel power in that way, because of the vast number of solar panels that we are going to need, we need to set up the factories here to manufacture the solar panels rather than importing the solar panels. So that will also create a lot of jobs, and we can export also to West Africa. We don't only have to use the panels in Ghana. So that is where I think we need to change the way we are doing things. We are also going to, my major focus also is to reduce the tax burden on Ghanaians. I want us to change the tax system. I want us to move into what I call a flat tax regime. So a regime which is simple to understand by individuals and businesses, is transparent, and is easy to comply with. It's like the way we pay tithe in church. If it's 10%, it's 10% for everybody. And that is very simple to understand. I want to change our import duty regime. At the moment, a lot of people bring goods in, not through Tema, but they take them through Lomi. And then from Lomi, they basically do the smuggling into Ghana. And we lose a lot of revenue. So I want a new policy on import duty such that Ghana's import duty cannot be higher than the import duty in the Lomé port in Togo. We will cap it at that level so that there's no incentive for anybody to smuggle through Togo to come to Ghana. So the smugglers will disappear, just like the ghost workers disappeared when we asked for the Ghana card. So I'm realigning our import duty policy to that of Togo. So we will not charge higher than that of Togo, and therefore we will get a lot more revenue coming into Ghana once there is no incentive to smuggle goods out in there. I also believe that we need to have a much closer partnership with the chiefs. One of the problems that I see is that chiefs have largely been, to some extent, sidelined in the governance of our country. but they are the most influential people in our country. So it becomes a problem for government. If you are governing and you don't have the chiefs closest to you, we need a partnership between the government and the chiefs for us to be very, very successful. And so I am going to advocate for a review of Section 63D of the Chieftaincy Act to grant the chiefs more powers. Because sometimes even summoning people to the palaces, the issue of the power to do so arises. And so we have to look at giving the chiefs some more powers to be able to exercise their duties effectively and help government. A lot of cases don't need to actually get into the courts. Many of the palaces can solve many problems given the right authority. But I know that to ask you to do that, we need to also resource you in the palaces to be able to do it. My manifesto committee on chieftaincy has come with a recommendation which I am going to fully endorse, which is saying basically that we need to review the allowances that we are paying to the paramount chiefs. That is very important. We need to increase it, what they call living allowances. Then we have to also pay the divisional chiefs and pay the queen mothers, so that the whole institution can help government. But because if you are only paying the paramount chiefs, there's a big gap that is left behind between the divisional and chiefs and the queen mothers. And we need to bring them all as an institution to help us to solve a lot of our problems. And so it is a recommendation that I'll be outdooring, and it's something that I believe we should really do a lot of to do that. One of the other areas we believe that the chiefs can help us a lot is in the area of mining. As you know, we have a lot of gold and other minerals. Ghana has 7 gold belts, all the way from Axim Winneba belt to Laura Nangodi belt. Such a huge amount of gold resources. But right now, we have issues with a lot of small-scale miners, galamsey issues, the destruction of the environment, and so on. And I want us to re-look at the whole licensing regime and the supervision regime of the small-scale miners. I think we need to license them to give a lot of community mining schemes so that we can supervise them, provide them with equipment. But the licensing at the district level and the chiefs must be part of the district mining committees in providing the licenses, because you know the people in these areas better than anybody else, so that you are part of the whole process. We'll set up a minerals development bank to help provide financing for the miners to be able to do. And if we were able to organize it properly, I believe we will do a lot better for this country and keep the resources in Ghana rather than take them abroad all the time. We are also looking at focusing beyond that on tourism, on the creative arts, on our pharmaceuticals, our digital economy. I believe that the youth of this country have an affinity for digital, and we can give them skills in these areas. I propose to train 1 million youth in digital skills such as coding, software engineering, and so on. The good thing about acquiring digital skills is that you don't need a degree or a certificate to learn. As long as you can read or write, we can train you to be someone in the digital field. And you can sit in your homes in Jeffrey and be working in Australia because you are doing it over the computer. You will have all the skills to be able to work in other countries whilst you are here. And we are going to train 1 million youth in this area to get us jobs so that they can be worthy of, they can get employment very, very easily in the digital field. So we are doing so much in terms of what we want to bring about in Ghana to change our country. My fathers, my mothers, your majesties, of course, I'm not able to speak completely on the whole manifesto, but these are some of the highlights of the things that I want to do. I want to make a comment on LGBTQ+, which I know has been a subject of conversation in this country. And I want to give you the assurance that our traditional values are not compatible with LGBTQ+. And I will never stand for it. I will never allow it. Not today, not tomorrow. Our traditional values don't allow it. Our religions don't allow it. Christianity, the Bible doesn't allow it. Islam, the Quran doesn't allow it. And our traditional religions also don't allow it. So it's no, no, no across all the divide. So no matter what the consequences are, we will hold on to these, our values. The practice is not going to be accepted, not by me, not at all. So we are going to hold on firm on this matter. As I keep saying, this election is a very unique election. The nature of this election has never happened in Ghana. This is the first time that you are going to have two main candidates for an election, both coming from northern Ghana. I mean, it's amazing. This is the first time you have two main candidates coming from northern Ghana to contest. And so this is a very, very important election for the North. We will get a president. That is clear, because the two main candidates are coming from the North. But the question is, which of the two can do the job? Which of the two can do the job? I have told you the sort of things I've done as vice president. I can list 33 different things as vice president that I have been able to do to make a lot of changes. My opponent as vice president cannot list one, even one. So the score is 33-0. So that is one thing. People have said that I have been the most impactful vice president in Ghana's history. So my record speaks for itself amongst your two sons. I can do the job. The second point is, even if you consider that we can both do the job, one can only come for 4 years and is gone. I have the opportunity to come for 8 years. So if the presidency is coming to us, do we want it for 4 years or we want it for 8 years? So I think my mothers and fathers, I think that it's in our interest to have it for 8 years. Because when it leaves, it may take a long time to come back. So we should get it for 8 years with somebody who can do the job to help all of us. So that is my case I am making to you. God bless you and thank you very much.
PRIZM Multimedia. When you go so share, now me say akwenya no ho de maw, say wo be subscribe, ye the video to ma, where the first person I won sabet me aso ye video mu, na wo so a wo ye oman ba pa no wetumi ehunu ne ekoso e wo oman mu. Like adwintre bi so ho na opese wuja fato comment section ni mu. Edi ba ko pe na fa frame make meje so. Me si ha da mu nyina mwase mamomoni ti a ye je me enyado.